Welcome to the Craft of Coaching podcast, where we dive into what it truly takes to become a skilled, confident life coach. I'm your host, Kate, head of the CLCC or Credentialed Life Coach Collective, an ICF accredited Level 1 coach training program. We combine courage, coaching, and community to offer you more than just a training program, but a life-changing experience where you use your own personal transformation as the learning ground for supporting your clients. On this podcast, we explore how you can use coaching skills to support your clients or expand your own growth, all grounded in evidence-based coaching practices. Learn more about our program and get free resources for becoming a life coach at teamclcc.com. And now, here's today's episode. Hello, friends. It's Kate, and today I'm going to be talking about something that impacts a lot of coaches. And it is how to return to your business after an extended break, after you have taken time away. And here is what I have seen happen many, many times. And by the way, since I've seen this happen many, many times, if you recognize yourself in this, chances are it means you can do it too. I have seen coaches who go through coach training and they graduate. And they get so excited about standing up their business. They're ready to roll. They oftentimes quit the corporate job. They put everything they've got into, now I'm going to be running this coaching business. They're really excited about it, all the things, which is fantastic. And then if things don't go as expected on the financial front, if the money doesn't come as quickly as they would like, if they suddenly realize, oh, unconsciously I was carrying and if I build it, they will come mentality, and I'm realizing now that a business actually takes effort, or if just through a series of bad luck, bad circumstances, a loss of some kind, the death in the family, an extended illness, or even circumstances that are good, like, oh, turns out I'm pregnant, we're going to add to our family. Whatever the reason is for stepping away, it is so hard for those coaches to step back. If this is you probably recognize yourself in feeling like, oh my God, it took so much courage for me to step out there and announce to the world that I was going to be a coach. I told everybody that this is what I was doing. There were probably some haters, doubters, naysayers, and I did it anyway. Or there were some people who really, really supported what I was doing, and then all that support, and then what? I stepped back and I'm not doing it anymore. It feels embarrassing. And so if that is you, today's episode is totally for you, because I have seen coaches who have done exactly that, where they're really excited about becoming a coach, and then somehow, some way they step away from coaching and they want to come back, but they feel embarrassed about it. And what I've seen, this is the good news, is that when they in fact do decide to come back, people actually care about the fact that they stepped away a lot less than they would think. So a lot of the embarrassment that coaches feel about stepping away from their business and then returning back is just their own self-consciousness. In reality, everybody's just been off living their life. And the haters and the naysayers who were doing their negative talk before, nothing's going to change with them. But the people who support you, actually, nothing's going to change with them either. They are going to be rooting for your return just as hard as they rooted for you to start. So let's get into some things that you need to keep in mind about making this comeback. And I did a parallel episode. I recorded it just this morning for my other podcast, the Your Courageous Life podcast. That podcast is going to talk about picking yourself back up after loss from the framework of like you kind of step away from something that's important to you, or from relationships, or you're feeling very tender after some kind of loss. And how do you pick yourself back up and engage with your life again? That episode is more personal in nature about how you handle this from a personal perspective. This episode is more so about how you handle this from a logistical perspective for your business. But there's going to be some elements of the personal that come into this as well. But I bring up the Your Courageous Life episode just in case maybe you are like me and you have stepped away from business before because you went through something really hard. I have had that experience. And to re-engage again after that step back feels very tender. So I want to acknowledge that and just say that there's more support over at the Your Courageous Life podcast if you're interested in that. But let's get into it. From a business perspective, I think that it is important if you've stepped away from your business for you to think through the sequence of events and what you've walked through and what your history has been and how that has become part of your life story, and be able to explain it to yourself, because yes, people will have questions if you decide to come back. Again, I don't mean questions as in people are somehow entitled to interrogate you. You don't owe people an explanation. Nobody should be able to interrogate you over why you took a step back from your business. But I do think from a place of signaling integrity, your personal integrity, and making it very clear to the people that you support that you say something about why you chose to step away and what you've learned. If anything, I think that when a coach steps away from their business for some reason and then they come back and they say, hey, I stepped away. Why? Because it was these specific factors, and here's what I've learned from that. Instead of that being something that I think a lot of coaches maybe go to a place of, oh my gosh, people are going to think I lack credibility because like I made that mistake or I couldn't handle XYZ and that's why I stepped away. I actually think it's the opposite. I think people look at you when you say, here's what happened. I can explain the history of what happened and what I learned, and it actually gives you more credibility. And that is something that I would encourage you to embrace. If you finished your coach training, you want to get back into coaching, but it feels very like, oh, but I told all these people that I was going to become a coach, and then I had to step away and they're going to look at me like, well, you couldn't handle your life. How can you help me with mine? It's like, no. It's not you couldn't handle your life. It's that you went through an experience, a life experience, which everyone goes through. And you took a necessary step back to preserve your capacity, to be able to decide, hey, what am I learning in this moment? And I think that that is a really healthy thing to do. And I would so rather you be that coach than one of the ones who lets it get to the point. And I hear, unfortunately, about these stories, but one of the ones who lets it get to the point where they are so burned out that they are ghosting clients on sessions or not showing up for program calls that people have paid for in a group program. No, I don't want you to get to that point, because to me, that's the point where people really lose credibility. So if you are doing the responsible thing and you're saying, okay, I had to take a step away before things got to be too much and I reset my capacity, kudos to you. That is something that we all have done before, overextended our capacity, and we can all learn from. Next thing, decide on a first small action for how you come back. Please do not make it, okay, well, I want to come back to my coaching business, but before I can come back, I got to redesign my website. I've got to come up with a social media strategy. I got to lay out a roadmap. I've got to pitch all these people. I got to come up with 10 different emails that I can send to former colleagues to let them know that I'm back in the game. No. It's too much. It's way too much. Instead, how about one text to a former coaching colleague to reach out and say, hey, just wanted to say hi. I know it's been a while since you and I connected. That mastermind group that we were in was a really great experience, and I was thinking of it the other day, and that made me think of you, and I just wanted to say hello. That's it. Or you come up with one social media post, or a week if you really are like, okay, I need 5 of them so I can string together a streak of a whole week. Fine. Okay. If you used to run a podcast and you'd like to get that going again, one podcast. Just come up with one small action. And there was something that I talked about in the Your Courageous Life episode that I did that, again, is kind of a parallel to this, about the importance of, when taking that one small action, not thinking to yourself, okay, this is it. This is it. This is everything. Because what I worry about is that someone might have anxiety about how big it feels to take that one small step, to make that one first social media post saying that you're coming back. And then tie that to how people respond and think that if you don't get a lot of likes, that it means that you shouldn't come back. No, it's not that. It's not that. Don't let it become that. Just decide for yourself. It's not about anybody else. Decide for yourself what that first small action is, and just pretend like that it's a little child's boat that you are gently setting onto a lake and giving it a gentle nudge, and it's going to go out into the lake and just float out there. That's all that's going on. It doesn't have to mean anything. It doesn't have to be the thing that defines everything that is to come. Just one small action. Next thing, be prepared for what I call the drop. Because what can so often happen, and this is something I've seen in myself, it's something that I've seen when supporting my own clients after they're putting themselves back out there. Maybe my clients feel like it's like the biggest thing to get back into going to the gym again after a huge injury, or it feels so huge and tender and vulnerable to start dating again after divorce. And I felt it too. There was a period I took away from my business of, I think, about 2 years, and coming back, it felt so big to take those first few steps. And I thought that it would be like this big relief, like, woo, I ripped off the Band-Aid. I took those first few steps. It's smooth sailing from here. No, it ain't. No, it isn't. It's actually really normal to feel this paradoxical kind of drop in your mood after taking that big step, where the tension is released of taking that big step, or the thrill dissipates. And then there's a drop in mood and a looking around and going, okay, I did this thing that felt so huge. Now what? And to me, that's where the work actually begins. This is the full commitment to start getting consistent. This is the full decision to start going, okay, now I'm back. Like I'm actually back, and I'm actually going to do this. And I'm going to do this differently this time. And I think one of the things that is most important in this stage is to decide what your bare minimum is for how you will show up. What small, repeatable actions will you take? So for instance, one of the bare minimum things for me in my business, and certainly in the aftermath of my dad dying, I have not been perfect about this, but now that I'm stepping back and coming back after a break, after the loss of my dad, this is my bare minimum commitment, and it's been this way for a long time. And it is the podcast gets produced and the newsletter goes out. I'm not always perfect about getting new social media content up there. Sometimes I have it scheduled in advance with my VA, and that's great. And other times I'm not as on it. And since the loss of my dad, I haven't been as on it with social media. Okay, great. Guilty as charged. There are things I could be doing in my business. There's search engine optimization that I could be doing. There usually is coordinating with my VA to get some pitches out for me to be a guest on podcasts. There's all these different things I could be doing. Right now, what's my bare minimum that I can commit to? It is podcast is produced, newsletters are going out. So I offer this example about my own business and suggest it for you. Decide what for you is the bare minimum that you're going to commit to, because you could, coming back to your business, be doing 20 different things. And if you try to do all 20 of those things, it will probably become really overwhelming really quickly. And then you might even find that you've been kind of spit back out into the overwhelm that caused you to step away in the first place, all over again. And that's going to erode your self-trust. I want you to build self-trust through this process. So what small, repeatable actions will you take, even if they're uncomfortable? And then that leads me to the importance of taking those small actions while adopting an open and curious mentality. And the phrase that keeps going through my head is, let's see where this goes. Let's see where this goes. Let's see where this goes. I shared in the Your Courageous Life episode, and I will share very transparently here, I am still in a grieving process right now. I believe, who knows with grief, right? But I believe I have moved out of this kind of original cocoon of grief. I'm out of the part of grief where it's just pressing down so hard on me every single day. And so now I'm no longer in that cocoon, but I am still grieving the loss of my father. But I'm wanting to live while grieving the loss of my father. And what I'm finding is that this mentality, let's see where this goes, is necessary. Because here I am, and I've said that my bare minimum commitment to my business is I'm producing the podcast and I'm getting a newsletter out. And as I've been recording these podcast episodes today, I find that I start rambling, I stop, I move the recording back, I start over to say it more concisely, I feel self-conscious about something I say. And yet it is what it is. I just have to see where this goes. I felt some level of even should I talk about this today? Grief is going to be a long process for me. I don't want anybody to think that every single piece of content I create is always going to be about grief, because that would be a little heavy for somebody to follow. I can get in my head just like you do. Just like you do. I like to say quite frequently to clients, to coaches that I'm training through CLCC, I'm not trying to be anyone's guru. I am standing shoulder to shoulder with you. This is an active practice of courage. It takes courage to feel all the discomfort of deciding that you want to come back to your business and not knowing where it's going to go. And I'm with you in that. And just sometimes you just got to go, you know what? I don't know where this is going, but I'll see where it goes. I'll hit record on the podcast and I'll see what happens. I'll hit go on that email and see what happens. So this is the mentality I'm encouraging for you, that you actually sit down and say, as I return to my business, I'll just see where it goes. I'll tell people what I'm doing and I'll just see where it goes. So you're coming back from a break. And that break might have felt brutal or just awkward. The important thing is that you're coming back. When I stepped away from my business for a couple of years, I felt like it was just, I've just been in such a space of a setback. I felt all this self-consciousness about how it would be received. And the thought came to me that my comeback matters more than the setback. That the comeback is actually what will define me, not the setback. And so that's what I want to leave you with today. Remembering that your commitment to coaching, as much as it is a personal commitment that's about you earning money, doing work that you love, and that being fulfilling for you, it's also work that does something beautiful in the world. And that matters. There is someone who is going to be touched by the work that you have to offer, and their life will be better for it. And that matters. So don't let your life be defined by the setback, by the time spent away. Decide that moving forward, you'll be defined by the comeback. All right, that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. Before you go, would you help us out and take a moment to give us a rating in iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you're listening? It really helps us get the word out to other listeners. And before you go today, would you like free resources to support your coaching journey? Whether you're considering becoming a coach or you want advanced coach skills training, access our coaching resource library at teamclcc.com. Again, that's teamclcc.com. Can't wait to connect with you. And again, thanks for listening.